everyone, welcome back to the Wise Fool podcast. This is Miki, and it's great to have you here. Today, I have a wonderful story from the Philippines about teamwork, kindness, and a tradition called Bayanihan. So get cozy and enjoy the Carabao who could not move. On a bright green island in the Philippines, where the rivers curled like silver ribbons and the banana trees danced in the wind, there stood a small village of animals beside a wide rice field. At the edge of the village lived an old Carabao named Datu. Datu had once been the strongest animal on the island. When storms flooded the rice fields, Datu carried frightened ducklings to safety. When coconut carts became stuck in the mud, Datu pulled them free. When typhoons bent the bamboo bridges sideways, Datu stood in the rushing water so smaller animals could climb across his back. Everyone admired him. But now Datu was old. His knees creaked when he walked. His back ached when rain clouds rolled in. And these days, instead of pulling heavy loads, he mostly sat beneath a mango tree, watching dragonflies skim across the paddies. Still, every morning, the younger animals greeted him respectfully. "Good morning, Datu. Did you sleep well? Will it rain today?" Datu always smiled kindly and answered each question as best he could. Because even though he was no longer the strongest, he was still the wisest. Now, not far from Datu's hut, lived a young monitor lizard named Tuko. Tuko was fast, very fast. He raced the wind through the tall grass. He leaped across rocks without slipping once. He could climb coconut trees quicker than monkeys, and Tuko was very proud of it. "Why should I help others?" he often bragged. "Everyone should carry their own problems." The ants disliked hearing this. The frogs rolled their eyes. Even the kingfisher birds clicked their beaks in annoyance. But Tuko did not care. "If you are strong," he said, "you should only worry about yourself." One afternoon, dark clouds gathered over the island. The air became heavy and sticky. The old turtles slowly lifted their heads. "A storm is coming," they muttered. Soon thunder cracked across the sky. Rain crashed down in giant sheets. The river swelled. The rice paddies overflowed. Palm trees bent sideways under the roaring wind. The animals hurried to secure their homes. The mice tied down leaf roofs. The monkeys gathered fallen fruit. The herons carried small fish from drying puddles into deeper water. Everyone worked together. Everyone except Tuko. Tuko stayed dry inside his hollow log. "They should have prepared earlier," he said lazily. All through the night, rain pounded the island. By morning, the storm had passed, but something terrible had happened. The muddy ground beneath Datu's hut had collapsed. His small home had slid sideways and became trapped near the swollen river bank. The hut leaned dangerously. One more heavy rain could send it tumbling into the rushing water. The animals gasped when they saw it. "We have to move Datu's hut." "But it's too heavy. The ground is too slippery." Datu stepped carefully outside. "It's all right," he said gently. "I'll manage somehow." But everyone could see the truth. He could not fix this alone. The village gathered beneath a great acacia tree. The monkeys argued. The pigs worried. The birds fluttered nervously overhead. Then an old Maya bird spoke softly. "We should use Bayanihan." At once, the village quieted. Bayanihan was an old Filipino custom. Long ago, in Filipino villages, Entire communities would gather together to help move someone's house. Neighbors carried the house on bamboo poles while everyone worked side by side. No one was paid, no one kept score. People simply helped because someone needed help. The animals had honored Bayanihan for generations, and now it was time again. The turtles gathered bamboo, the monkeys tied vines into rope, the ants organized rows of pebbles to stabilize the muddy ground. The crocodiles volunteered to stand near the river in case anything slipped. Even the tiny hummingbirds carried leaves to patch weak spots in the roof. Everyone worked. Everyone except Tuko. "This is ridiculous," he scoffed from a tree branch. "Why should all of you carry one old Carabao's hut?" The monkey twins frowned, because Datu helped everyone when he was younger. "That was a long time ago," said Tuko. The old Maya bird looked at him carefully. "One day," she said, "you may need help too." Tuko laughed. "I'm fast enough to help myself." The animals said nothing after that. As sunset approached, the village prepared to lift the hut. Long bamboo poles slid beneath the wooden floor. The strongest animals took positions near the corners. "Ready?" called the crocodile captain. "Ready!" shouted the village. "Lift!" Slowly, very slowly, the hut rose into the air. The monkeys pulled, the pigs pushed, the turtles steadied the bamboo poles. Even the tiny mice carried loose pieces of wood to keep the path clear. Step by careful step, the hut moved across the muddy ground. Datu watched quietly, his eyes shining. Then, crack! One of the bamboo poles snapped. The front corner of the hut lurched sideways toward the river. The monkeys screamed. Mud slid beneath everyone's feet. The crocodiles lunged forward to brace the edge, but the current pulled hard against the bank. "We're losing it!" shouted the frogs. The hut tilted further. Animals slipped in the mud, and suddenly Tuko realized something. No single animal was strong enough to save the hut alone, not even him. But together they almost had it. For the first time in his life, Tuko felt ashamed. Without another word, he sprinted down from the tree. "I'll get another bamboo pole," he shouted. The village stared. Tuko dashed through the forest faster than the rainwater flowing downhill. He climbed a bamboo grove, bit through a thick stalk, dragged it free, and raced back, carrying the enormous pole across his shoulders. "Move aside!" he cried. The monkeys quickly tied the new pole into place. "Ready again!" shouted the crocodile captain. The animals pushed together once more. This time Tuko wedged himself beneath the weakest corner. Mud coated his claws. Rainwater soaked his tail. His legs trembled from the weight, but he kept lifting, and slowly the hut rose level again. The village cheered. Together the animals carried Datu's home all the way to higher ground beneath the mango trees. When they finally set it down, the entire village burst into relieved laughter. The frogs croaked songs, the monkeys danced across the roof, the birds circled happily overhead. And Datu walked slowly over to Tuko. "You helped save my home," the old Carabao said softly. Tuko lowered his head. "I should have helped from the beginning." Datu smiled gently. "Sometimes," he said, "strength means learning you cannot carry everything alone." That night, the animals shared a feast beneath glowing lantern bugs. Bananas, rice cakes, coconuts, sweet root vegetables, and for the first time Tuko sat among everyone else instead of alone. From then on, whenever storms arrived or someone needed help, Tuko was always the first to volunteer. And generations later, the animals still told stories about the day the village carried the old Carabao's house together. Because Bayanihan was never just about moving houses, it was about carrying one another through difficult times together.